All right, in this section we are going to talk about two modules, and these two are going to be the target and the spider. First, just a quick summary what they do, and then we will go into details. So the target, you will actually quickly figure it out, but the target is just a structured view of everything what's gone through your burp. So you see here everything what's ever passed your burp suite in a very well structured view. And the spider is a web spider. So if you're familiar with the concept of web crawling or web spidering, then that's exactly what it does. So it's gonna try to discover the whole application for you to find out all the existing pages. So what it does, it's gonna start from, I actually try to draw it for you. So it's gonna start with one page and then collect all the references on that page to other pages. This could be like an href or some JavaScript reference or a form, what you can submit or anything like that. And so it collects all these references and then loads them and do the same on the new page. So loads this one as well, do it here as well. So that's how it discovers all the available sites. At the end, what you're gonna have is a tree where all the nodes are pages and all the links are references between those pages. Right? So you will have a really good overview what's in your application. This is good because sometimes you could do this manually. So you could come to the for instance to the web code and then start clicking all the links and start submitting everything. But for one, it would take a lot of time, and it's also possible that you don't see everything because, for instance, a link was hidden on the page, or there was a hidden form, or something was in a command. So it's possible that you just don't see it here on the interface, but it's still in your HTML code. And the spider will load that as well. And it's also much faster than you. So that's why the spider is good. There are also disadvantages of using a spider. I actually don't use that much because the spider is gonna click on more or less on everything. So it can also delete something from your application. So if there is some something in the application like an event or like a document saved there, and if there is a delete button there, then the spider will click on the delete button, and it's possible that it's going to delete it from there because that's how the spider works. So you definitely shouldn't use spider if it's a productive system, and also you need to think about this when you consider using the spider. It also has some options, which most of them are pretty straightforward, so I don't think it's important to talk about it. I suggest you to check out it yourself. Which is important is this form submission. So you can define how Burp should react when it finds a form. So forms should be filled with some kind of data. So that's what you can do here. Either say you don't want to submit forms, or you can say that you always want to have like a pop-up window and fill out the form yourself, or you can give here some basic data, what should be used to fill out forms. It depends on you. Of course, if you say prompt for guidance, then it will be much slower because you always get this pop-up window, and it's gonna be also more annoying, I guess. And another important point is this application login. So alone the spider couldn't spider applications where you need to log in, because it wouldn't be able to log in without knowing the credentials. So it's the same with the normal forms. You can say what to do in that case, either give credentials and then Burp is going to try to use those credentials. It's also possible that it wouldn't work because how the login form is implemented, but Burp will try. But it can also prompt you for guidance. That's again, you're gonna get this window and you need to fill out yourself. The rest is more or less about speed and throttling, so that's not really important for us right now. And that's more or less the spider. So let's go to the target, and then we'll see how to use the spider. So as I already mentioned, the target is only a well-structured view of the content which went through Burp. You see I have quite a lot of things here already. These are all the URLs which I visited through Burp, partly because sometimes I forgot to turn off Burp in the Firefox when I like downloaded the proxy or something. But even if you're like only using Burp with your target application, you can also see like lots of URLs here, because some of the content is not actually loaded from the website what you're testing, but from somewhere else. Like if the application uses jQuery, then the JavaScripts might be loaded from the jQuery website, or different images might be loaded from different web pages, etc. So you can always see lots of URLs here, even if you're really focused on your web application. What's important for us right now is that this is the application which we are testing at localhost on 8080, and if we open it, then we are following the structure of the URL. So if you go into webgoat, then that was the webgoat, and then here's the attack. So in the webgoat folder there was the attack, and there was the images, JavaScript, etc. And for instance, if we come here to the attack, then this is the place where we submitted all our requests. So you might remember that, for instance, this one was the one which we used for the repeater, the cross-site scripting. And these were only some places when we were just loading pages. And yeah, this is the other one which we already used at the beginning to play with the password here. So here you see all the requests which went through. So it's pretty cool to see things which you might have not noticed in the proxy part, or when it passed your browser. So it's sometimes good to come back here to the target and look through the URLs which you might have missed. For instance, I'm pretty sure you don't really pay attention to all these images and JavaScript. So what you can do is, you see here something interesting like admin.js. Then you can just come here and say, here on the request, copy URL, and then you can come here to the browser, and in a new tab just say load this URL, and then you have the JavaScript code. So always when you find something interesting here, you can always just say copy URL and load it in the browser to actually look at it if like the HTML code here is not enough or anything like that. Or for instance, here you don't see actually the JavaScript code because it was already cached. So that's why it's good to load it in the browser. So that's basically the target. So it gives you a really, really good overview of the structure of the whole website you're testing. Another important point is the scope here. So there's this other tab here called scope. Here you can define your test scope. So if you're doing real penetration testing, then you have a permission to test a very well-defined scope. Everything else should not be tested, because that would be illegal, because you only have permission for your scope. So you can come here and define your scope to make sure that you don't accidentally test other websites, or you don't or any of the automated tools are not testing other pages. So you can either do it yourself, like adding a new scope by hand, or you can come here and like right click here and say add to scope, right? And then it was added to your scope. If you have like different URLs because the application uses different web services, then you can add all of them to the scope. So let's see how we start the spider actually. What we can do here is come here and say spider this host. You then still get this this warning that there might be things which are out of scope there, but since under this URL everything is in scope, so I will just say yes, and then the spider starts. As you can see, I immediately got this submit form because I need to give the test data for that. So I just say test and submit, and then again test submit. Now if we come back to here to the spider, you can see the little statistic here that it sent 75 requests and byte transferred and whatever. What is going to happen now is whenever you like load a new page on your website, which the spider haven't seen before, then it's going to spider it automatically. Right? Let's see whether we have something new here. It was 80 requests now. And as the spidering goes on, you will have more and more data here in your target. So just to recap, spidering is good to discover your application, to find out more info about the application, but you need to be careful with it because it might do something which you didn't want to. And the target is just a structured view of your application, but it's also really good to have a great overview of it. You might want to define your scope to not accidentally test websites which you shouldn't. So I suggest you to look at the URLs here a little bit, whether you find something interesting, and then during your further test to keep an eye on the target here, and sometimes come back and check whether there's some interesting thing here. And when you're ready, then continue with the next section.